Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I have just come out of physiotherapy on my arm. That's probably about a dozen sessions I've had so far. It's starting to ease up a little, but it's still quite painful. The session that I had just then was very painful. They seem to have found the spot where it's causing all the problems, and when they put their massage thing on it, oh my gosh. So first of all, I go into a anti-magnetic thing, which is supposed to reduce the swelling of the area that you've got the problem with. So you go into a very small little tunnel like that. It's only sort of, I don't know, probably a foot long, just over, maybe a half a metre. It's all right, to be fair. There's no claustrophobia because it's a very small bit and it's just across my chest and my arm, which is great. I had an experience a few weeks ago with, sorry, just one second, let me just pull out of this road. I had an experience a few weeks ago where I had to have an MRI scan, and anyone that's unfortunate enough to have ever had that done will understand how claustrophobic they are. I had to go into the tunnel. I'm going to take my glasses off actually, because when I went in it was blistering sunshine. I've come out and there's been a downpour, so it's like quite wet at the moment. I went into this MRI tunnel a few weeks ago. It took me 3 attempts because I am quite claustrophobic. I had an experience in Thailand where we went into a cave, and when we was in the cave, the water started rising, and we was about 200 meters in, I would say. Hope you can hear me all right, because like I say, this is sort of a little bit lower than it should be. Unfortunately, we was in a kayak, myself and Sophie, and we had to, in the end, we had to lay down in the kayak completely because the water was rising and we was heading for the ceiling of the cave. It was like a little tunnel. The only thing I can describe it as is sort of potholing. It's a little bit claustrophobic, a bit stupid really with my fear of enclosed spaces. So it started rising, and I remember at one stage my face was like this and I had to turn it because it was starting to squash my nose. That's how close to the ceiling we was. Anyway, that's what's caused this horrific claustrophobia that I seem to suffer with. So a few weeks ago when I went into the MRI tunnel, it took 3 attempts, and then in the end I closed my eyes before I went in, and I didn't open them again until I come out. I was in there for about 22 minutes to do the photographs of my arm. About a week or so ago, I had to go for a second one, which I thought was a bit stupid considering they haven't done an operation on my arm at all. They've just basically done physio on it and these treatments and bits and bobs, which is fine because with the type of injury I've got from the boxing, I was in the middle of a sparring session, probably already heard this, and for a left to the body, guy I was boxing brought his right arm down to block it. So I immediately switched it up to a right hook to the head. So I didn't land the punch and it just popped. Oh, it was so painful. Felt like I'd smashed my elbow. You know when you hit your funny bone? That's what it felt like, but 10 times worse. And then the next day my arm was yellow, and then it was completely blue and brown, and oh, it was horrible. But me being me, oh, it'll be all right, it'll just go away. I thought it was just going to be a bad bruise type of thing. But anyway, as it seems, I've torn 5.3 centimeters of the bottom part of my my bicep. Anyway, all that aside, someone's hooting someone. All that aside, like I say, I'm now a dozen sessions into my physio and it's starting to feel a bit better. But about a week or so ago, I had to try and go for another MRI, and I went to a different place this time. And the machine was a lot more narrow. I could only describe it as being trying to fit yourself in a milkshake straw. That's how it felt. Went in and the shoulders were hitting the sides and I couldn't do it. And then I had to lay to the side with my arm over and everything. Absolutely horrific. And I knew I was going to be in there for some time, and the claustrophobia was much worse because it was a much smaller tunnel. And I just said to him, I can't do it. So I tried to go in, I had to push the emergency button, I had to come out, I just couldn't. Started to feel that I wanted to smash the place, you know, like when you just want to, you know, that's how it felt. Anyway, all this aside, I couldn't do it, but now I've got to have another one. They've told me they can't continue with the treatment unless I have this scan. So I've just asked them if I can go back to the original one. Hopefully they'll be able to put me in the bigger tunnel and all will be good. I can try and somehow suffer that one. But the health service in general is really good. When we first moved here, we had to have private medical. From the private medical, once you become self-employed, you pay a thing called an autonomo every month. Which for the first couple of years they give you a big discount, so it works out about €90 a month. After that it goes up to €320 a month or 360, I'm not sure. Mine's only just gone up and I haven't paid that yet until next month. So it's gone up quite drastically, but that pays for your healthcare, that pays for towards your pension. And no matter how much your business is earning, you have a set fee that you have to pay every single month. Obviously, those amounts come off the taxes that you pay because it's an expense. So, you know, as long as your business is earning okay money, that's what you have to do. Now, if you're legally married, you only have to pay one person has to pay it, and that covers you for both partners and any children you've got under the age of 18. So generally that wouldn't be too bad. $320 a month, that covers everyone and your pensions. But obviously myself and Sophie are not legally married yet, so we have to both pay it. So basically €700 a month, best part of quite a lot of money to find every month. But there you go, that's the system, and we pay into it. And at the moment I'm glad I have, because the treatment I've got has been second to none. We've not really had loads of experience with the medical and stuff like that. The only other time that I used it was when I first arrived in Spain, but I was on private medical at the time, and I had a bad accident on my scooter which shredded my skin. I had all the protective clothing on, like flip-flops, shorts and a t-shirt, and I remember on the way to the floor, that split second, I thought this is going to hurt, and it did. Shredded my skin. I come out of the hospital looking like someone, an extra from the Mummy film, where they were all wrapped up in the tombs in Egypt. Anyway, moving on. I haven't really, apart from that and then the accident when I was boxing, or the injury which I got while I was boxing, I haven't really experienced it. Carter had a bit of an issue when he first moved here. Again, that was private medical, but to start with, it was in the NHS, if you like, the basically the social system, and the treatment we received each time has been absolutely amazing, faultless. I have a little bit of a problem with the language and the lingo and stuff like that, but the actual speed that you get treated and how you get treated and the thoroughness of it, can't fault. Now, I haven't had an awful lot of experience, to be fair, of the NHS in the UK, so I can't really compare it. I'm only saying by what I've been told by others, that the service in Spain is much, much better. But I guess you are paying for it. If you're paying 320, 360 euros a month, which is about 300 quid a month, 280, 300 quid a month, it's quite a lot of money. But pretty much I just look at it, I was paying private medical anyway, so it's hardly any different. But if that's something that's, if anyone's thinking of moving over to Spain, and that's something that's sort of as a barrier that's standing in your way, even if you're a pensioner, as I understand it, and you'll have to excuse me because I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but you get an S1 when you come out, so a Sierra, S for Sierra 1, and that gives you your pension here in Spain and the same healthcare that you get in the UK. So I'm going to be honest with you, there's not really a barrier as far as medical is concerned. And of course you can, if you're moving over here and applying for your visa and stuff, you obviously have to pay your private medical until your visa comes through. Now once your visa comes through, you can swap it over to being on the state. Always the same man phoning me each time, Gary, and he seems to hone in when I'm recording a video. So anyway, just thought I'd quickly hop on and just say that, my experience with how I've been treated since I've been in Spain for any medical conditions that I have got is second to none. So don't let that put you off. Hope everyone is good. and I will speak to you all very soon. I'm going to try and do a live with Paul in the next couple of days. We'll put that on Paul's channel, and then I'm going to try and get Paul to appear on my channel for once, just as a guest to my channel, just to see if that goes down well. And I'm going to hit him with some questions that he's probably never been asked before. So that's up and coming, and I will catch up with you all very soon. Speak to you soon, guys.